to all of you. It's so wonderful to see some of you that I haven't seen in a while, and welcome back. And those of you that are visiting for the first time, we are delighted that you have chosen to come here and share this morning with us. In Unity, we believe that there is only one power and one presence in the universe and in our lives. And so wherever we are, God is. And you are showing up as the very presence of God right here in this place. And that is why we can feel that love in this community, because God is love and you are love. You are that presence. So welcome this morning. And we want to kind of set the intention for today. We want to be able to receive all that Spirit wants to flow through us. I am Lecour. I'm a ministerial candidate, soon to be licensed Unity minister. And our beautiful minister is at a spiritual retreat, so she'll be joining us in a couple of weeks. So we're excited for everything that is happening here. And so right now, let us take a moment. Just take a deep breath. Oh, and let that go. Let that breath go. You know, we know that with that breath is the very promise of the living Spirit of the Christ that is in us, flowing in and through us in magnificent ways, willingly allowing us to experience the joy and the peace that is ours to have. And so we release any tension, any worries, whatever we're thinking about, we just let it go for the next hour. And we set the intention to be here in this very present moment, to be here with all our heart open and our mind open, to give love and receive whatever the Spirit is going to impart in us. We are one with the one presence and one power of the universe. And we know that all that happens when we set that intention, when we let go and we allow magnificent things happen. And so we are grateful that we have this community, this place where we can come and be with one another and share with one another the goodness that the Spirit of God is doing through us, in us, and through us. And so we surrender everything that's going to happen in this place, knowing that everything is unfolded in divine order, and it's going to be perfect, it's going to be beautiful, it's going to be good, because we are the very presence of God. And as we serve and we give and we show up, then the Spirit of God shows up with us. So we say thank you for these truths that we know and that we hold very dear to our heart as we create in our community a loving, caring, healing, spiritual community, which is our vision. We say thank you, God, thank you, God, thank you, God. Amen. Amen. Let's get ready to have a wonderful time together. Turn this over back to Scotty.
Why don't you stand and sing our greetings for our show this morning?
Good morning. Good morning. What about all this rain? Did we need it? It was so dry, 2 trees followed my dog home. Now that's dry. I'm here to do the daily word for Sunday, April 8th. I am always comfortable in the midst of day's pressures and challenges. My life is often filled with schedules and obligations that cause me to feel overwhelmed. I take the time to realize that I'm really feeling is energy of the world around me. I can always choose to stay comfortable in the midst of pressure. What I know without question, that there is one presence and one power active in the world and in my life. And when I'm feeling out of alignment with the truth, I center myself in the energy of my heart and find the comfort of spirit that is always present. I feel that comfort radiating in every cell of my body, every thought in my mind. I am a perfect expression of the presence of the divine. It is the Lord who goes before you. He will be with you. He will not fail you or forsake you. Do not fear or be dismayed. Deuteronomy 31:8. Namaste.
This very sacred moment is for you. A very special time of our service where we can go away a little bit in our consciousness to experience the still small voice of God. So I'm asking you to remove any obstructions that you have on your laps. Allow yourself to be centered by placing both feet on the ground. And take a deep breath. And just let it go. Put your hand over your heart and your other hand close to your abdomen. And just breathe for a moment. Beautiful breath of life. And allow that breath to bring more relaxation into your body. Allow yourself to relax, sinking in with the rhythm and the flow of the in and outward movement of the breath. Allow it to just take you away for a moment. The eye of your imagination, think of a place where you feel most safe. Perhaps it's by a park and contemplating the things of nature. Or perhaps it's by the ocean. Wherever that special place is for you, that place that brings you such peace and joy. Allow this breath, as it flows in and out, to carry you there. When you arrive in this special place of your heart, notice that there is a bench there. No one's sitting there. So find yourself moving to that direction. And when you arrive, sit gently there and take in all the sounds that are around you. The one power and the one presence of love surrounds you and comforts you and eases all your concerns. It enfolds you like a soft white shawl, letting you know that all is well, always well. No need to worry, no need to concern yourself. Just be. You are God's beloved child, created in His image and likeness. There is never, ever separation. And the entire universe serenades you with its sounds, with its beauty, with its majesty. You are that significant. You are that special. surrender or wait in the silence to listen to what the still small voice of the living Spirit of God wants to share with you. Perhaps it may say, peace, be still. But whatever it is, we're going to go into the silence for a moment. And we're going to listen. Just listen. In the stillness of this moment, there is only God showing up as you, through you. There is only love, only peace. All that is good is yours to have. As you take another breath, you set the intention to leave behind all your worries and all your concerns, all your doubts and all your fears. You leave them behind on that bench. And you once again allow the rhythm of the breath in your heartbeat to draw you back to this place, this here and now. Sacred moment. Stay with it. As you return, stay in that sacred, sacred place where you know your truth, the truth that sets you free. And once you have arrived in this place, take another breath. Depths of your being that all is well, all is always well. You live and you breathe, and you have your being in one power, in the one presence of the universe. It is always wherever you are, all is well. Namaste. So beautiful. Sounded like this room was filled with lots and lots of people. Anyway, good morning again. So today I want to ask you to use your imagination. Imagine what it would be like if you had everything that your little heart desired. Everything. Enough money, enough possessions, enough fame, enough opportunities for entertainment. Just everything. You had enough of everything. Does that feel pretty good? Okay. Now imagine that very same scenario, except that your life now has all these things, but your inner world is full of turmoil. Would you still want that life? Some of us would, but anyway. Well, this is the life that this young man in a movie that I recently watched, his name was Jason, that was his life. He had it all. He had everything that he could possibly want or imagine. But his life, internal life, was full of all kinds of miseries. See, he was the grandson of an oil tycoon, a billionaire no less, and the only grandson, so nothing was ever withheld from him. But he had no joy, and he had no love, and he had the most important thing, he had no purpose. Without purpose in life, we just flounder, and our days just pass us by, leaving us all empty. When his grandfather dies, Jason learns that he has inherited something very special. It was called the ultimate gift. But in order to get it, he had to complete all kinds of tasks. And the purpose of that was so that he would learn some real valuable lessons of life. Now, Jason had no idea what the worth of that ultimate gift was, but he sure had a lust for money, and he did not want to change his lifestyle. So he decided that he would accept the challenge. Little did he know that his journey was not going to be easy. He finds himself enduring all kinds of hardships that he never imagined. He had to work for the very first time, and under the hot sun, in the middle of nowhere. And then when he came back saying, okay, I've completed that, I'm done, he realizes, no, there's more to do. And as he progresses, he begins to lose all his possessions. Everything that he owned is taken away from him. He becomes homeless. And he has to really endure, and friendless, because of course now he has no money. Who wants to hang out with him? So he loses everything. No friends, no money. Now he has to go through the experience of being humiliated and rejected and experience hunger. Things that sometimes most people experience. And at his lowest point, he meets these two very special people. It's a young mother and her daughter, Emily, who is actually dying of cancer. And from them, he learns the most valuable lesson of all. He learns the gift that comes from giving. And that is my topic for you today. My message title is The Gift of Giving. Whenever we talk about giving, I know some of us squirm a little bit because we think we're going to ask you for money. And although that may be the case in some instances, it is, in this case, it is not today. Today's message is really more about discovering what that ultimate gift is, where you have a life of service when you give. The Dharma law says that everyone has a purpose, a unique gift or a special talent that you can give to others. And when we blend our unique talents with service to others, we experience the ecstasy and exaltation of our own spirit, which is the ultimate goal of all goals. The word Dharma really means purpose. What we set out to do in life. We, you and I, are spiritual beings created in the image and the likeness of God, having a human experience. And somehow we have forgotten who we really are. We have identified with a part of ourselves that is not our truth. We have forgotten to live from our divine nature because we have not known it yet. And so our purpose in our journey, just like Jason's journey, our purpose is to be able to begin to peel away all the illusions that we have created with our thoughts and with our feelings, that we are limited, that we are worthless, or that we are whatever we have said to ourselves. We are none of those things. And so peeling away all those thoughts and all those ideas and all those beliefs that we have carried around for years and years and years and years would eventually help us to reveal what has been concealed by those thoughts, feelings, and beliefs. The splendor and the power of our true nature. And our true nature is absolute love. That's what it is. It's love in its purest sense. Now, like Jason, we embark on our journey the moment that we come onto this earth planet. And in our journey, we also will have lots and lots of experiences. Each of those experiences is going to offer us an opportunity to show up as we truly are, to let go of the false beliefs and things that have limited us, and respond from the place of our true self. In other words, we will be given opportunities to let all we say and all that we do be motivated by love. We rarely think about that. We sometimes respond without even thinking. But sometimes it only takes a breath to remind us, in any experience that we're having, to take a breath and wait a moment. Where am I going to respond from? The prophet Kahil Gibran said, "To work with love is to weave the cloth with threads drawn from your heart." Imagine that. To work with love is to weave the cloth with threads that are drawn from your heart. Even as if your beloved were to wear that cloth. When we work with love, or from a place of love, or from our true nature, we give of ourselves. I'm giving you part of me. I'm investing myself in you, and you are investing yourself in me. And the more that we give from that place of love, the greater love we will feel. Because the more we give from that place of love, the more we are peeling away those illusions that we have created and showing up more as our true selves. And that's why it feels so good. One of the verses in the book of Luke says that, "Give and it will be given to you. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over, will be put into your lap. For the measure you give will be the measure you get back." So in the giving, there's no duality, giving and receiving. There's only one. As you give, you receive. As you give, you receive. There's only one. You can't receive without giving, and you can't give without receiving. So giving from our true self in service to others needs to be sincere, without any pretense, without judgment or discrimination or hypocrisy. It should not expect anything in return. It is purely, absolutely motivated by your divine nature, which is love. We see it so beautifully demonstrated when we see a mom taking care of her babies. You see that? They give, they don't expect anything in return. They give from that place of love. They're not judging that baby that is crying. They give from a place of love. But then there are those relationships in our lives that are not so easy. Sometimes in our relationships we experience conflict. Some of us want to run away from it. And quite often what happens in those experiences, because we haven't paused, our egoic nature begins to command our attention. Pay attention to me. And then our responses get focused on what the other person isn't doing, or why is it not meeting my needs? And we become defensive, and we become impatient and irritable. We blame, and we try to shame, and we argue, and we insist on being right. The ego is only concerned with self-preservation. It edges God out altogether. And in no time, we begin to see each other as separate beings, when in reality, there is only one of us. But what if instead, we think of how we can better the situation by giving from our place of love more of ourselves? In that place of conflict, can we be more compassionate? Can we give compassion? Can we give empathy? Can we give more attention or support? Can we take the time to find out what is it that we can show up? How can we show up to remedy this situation? Whatever it is, can we give it? And if we do, it often diffuses the conflict and leads to very positive results for both parties. This type of giving brings the highest returns. Peace of mind, joy, comfort. Imagine what our world would be like if we would apply this same dynamic of giving, not just in our personal relationships, but to everyone that we meet and see. What if our leaders in our nation would do the same thing? Would show up in a different way than has been showing up. If we were to do this together, we will raise the collective consciousness of our world, and our world will be transformed. We don't need anyone to do it for us because they can't. It has to start with me, and it has to start with you individually. This is the work that we have been called to do. You probably are thinking to yourself, Luz, that's just too difficult. I would have to say yes, it absolutely is. If you attract and sense consciousness, a consciousness that is absolutely fixed on the things of this world and is concerned only with protecting the self. When we're in that sense consciousness trap, the internal dialogue that we are having all the time is, what's in it for me? I'll help you, but what's in it for me? But when we cultivate a Christ-centered consciousness, when we deliberately and consciously begin to say, I choose no longer to be trapped by that consciousness, but I begin to release those things in my life that are holding me back from showing up as I'm intended to show up, then things change. Everything is seen from a different perspective. From that perspective of a Christ-centered consciousness, we're able to lift the veil of duality, and we see that there really is no separation. We see all things are interconnected. The web of life, if you want to see it that way. And we realize that as I do unto you, if I give unto you, I am also giving unto myself. There is no duality. And the internal dialogue of a consciousness that is Christ-centered always says, how can I help? How can I give of my time, of my talents, of my efforts, of my resources, whatever it is that I have to remedy a situation? On the other hand, when we live from a self-sense consciousness, we see only separation and duality. Our world is compartmentalized. It's made up of all kinds of different entities. There are people, and then there are nations, and there are objects in nature, and there are political parties, and different religions, and on and on and on. We see separation. And we seek mostly to protect ourselves and our possessions. And we seek mostly to stand, be right, wherever it is position that we have taken. Our focus becomes on satisfying only our needs. And look at the condition that has taken us to. In the Bible, there's a short story of a young rich ruler who heard about Jesus' teaching of eternal life. He wanted Jesus to tell him how he could earn eternal life. And Jesus says to him, well, follow the commandments. And right away he says, I've been doing that. Since I was a young kid, I've been doing that. And this is what happens next. The passage I'm going to read to you is from the book of Mark, chapter 10, verses 21 and 22. Looking at him, Jesus felt a love for him and said to him, one thing you lack. Go and sell all your possessions and give to the poor, and you will have treasure in heaven. And come and follow me. But at these words, he was saddened, and he went away grieving, for he was one who owned lots of property. The rich man that came to Jesus is really us. Everything in the scripture is about us. He represents that part of us that wants to maintain an attitude of mind that is governed by our egoic nature. And Jesus was making it very clear that if we seek the things of the Spirit, if that's our intent to grow spiritually, to seek the things of the Spirit, we must release the things of the flesh. Meaning those thoughts and ideas that are holding us back. We must make a conscious effort to do that. These are the thoughts and feelings that are distorting for us the truth of who we are and what we are capable of. And it's denying us our inheritance. We have more than enough. We don't need ever to feel that we have need or lack. We have more than enough. So there are many morals in the story, but the moral that I chose for today is that we cannot continue to live from a sense consciousness and at the same time say that we want to live from a spiritual consciousness. So you have to choose. Choose this day which one you would allow to serve. Like the young ruler, Jason, the young man in the movie, his consciousness was so afflicted. My goodness, he had all kinds of thoughts and feelings that were keeping him from seeing the truth. He had a very, very crowded and distorted consciousness. He was so angry because he never felt that he received the love that his family should have given him. And he had resentment because he felt that his friends were using him for his money. And he had unforgiveness because he blamed his grandfather for the death of his father. And he had greed and envy and selfishness and a host of other things. Can you imagine the turmoil that young man was experiencing in his life? That's why it's so important to be mindful of our thoughts and our feelings, the things that we are holding in our consciousness, what we are saying to one another, and what we are doing. They cloud our perception and experience of the world. They can keep us from experiencing what is ours to have. We are intended to live life and live it more abundantly, right here, right now. There's so much suffering in our world that could be alleviated if we would release our attachments to these thoughts and these feelings and these beliefs. And notice that I'm not talking about possessions. It's the thoughts and the feelings and the beliefs that have binded us into this sense consciousness where we cannot set ourselves free. If we were to make that choice, then we would make way for the Spirit of the living Christ nature to flow freely as us right here, right now. We become the very face of God. And we can give from that place that is truly a place of love to others in service. It will come from the heart and from the soul. It will be in the form of a pure intention, selfless, and motivated by unconditional love. Can you imagine what that would be like? Can you imagine that? Can we begin to do that? We can begin to create it right here, right now, in this very community, in our very homes. It starts with you and it starts with me. Denzel Washington, the well-known actor and director and producer, said that at the end of the day, it is not about what you have or even what you have accomplished. It's about who you lifted up, who you made better. It's all about what you gave back. The gift that you get from giving is joy, is peace, is purpose. But most importantly, is the ultimate gift. It's the privilege of showing up as you truly are, living from your divine nature. That is the ultimate gift. My hope for you today is that you will choose to release those things that have been holding you back from serving with your gifts and your talents and all that you have been giving for the greater good of the brotherhood and sisterhood of humanity. And to choose it today, starting today. It doesn't take very much, just a yes. Namaste.